a story.
Shit, what's fucking happened? What's the crack?
What happened there?
Oh, thanks. I don't know. It switched my camera around by accident.
Cover activity. No, I'm messing.
I'm all good. I'm at sharing it there, and anyway.
Right, so for anybody like who is tuned in that might know you, tell everybody who you are.
Wes. I'm just me, lads. I'm
Okay.
Wes. I'm just
So
myself.
Wes is from Ireland in Dublin, and he acts for a living. And if you didn't act, what would you do? That's a good question.
If I didn't act, I
Yeah,
probably would have been in the army, to be honest.
really.
Yeah, genuinely, like I would have been in the army, yeah.
That's really interesting. Like, so do you keep up to date with like what's going on in the world then when it comes to the military and stuff like that?
No, I don't. Fuck that. I just would have been a good soldier. No, I like the army for the disciplinary reasons and the training, but I'm not a fan of war, obviously, you know what I mean? But like I just have a good mentality for a soldier, I suppose. But I was gonna go to the army as well. Like there was a time where I was out for sea and
Okay.
I didn't think I was going back and I applied for the army.
That's
And
really
the
interesting.
same
Did you
week I
do?
had me recruitment, me fitness test.
I was about to
I
ask, did you do all that?
how?
I was just about to say, did you do the fitness test? Did you go through the
No,
whole process?
not the no, the same day. Like I was practicing it, you know what I mean, at home and stuff, and like it would have been grand. But what happened was there was a time where I left for a city, and then I went to pursue my education into college to study acting
Okay.
and stuff like that. So yeah, but when I went and done that, there wasn't I didn't really hear from RTE for a while, you know what I mean, because I had moved away and just loads of different reasons. But I didn't think I was going back at that stage. So I'd kind of given up hope for myself, you know what I mean, to be honest, to think I was going back because so much time had passed. And then I applied for the army, and then a few more weeks passed. And then the same week I had my recruitment process, I got an email from RTE asking if I go back. So I
Oh,
just said, yeah.
interesting. Isn't it? Like, it's two different dynamics altogether, and I know people might say like acting and being a soldier is different, but like not really. Like mentally, you're kind of on an 24-hour clock. You're always on the go. Your mind is always working, you know, and your body is able to like withstand serious hours of being on your feet, and it's incredible.
Well,
Kind of, it's
yeah,
just interesting, like to go from one to the other. But I see where you could fit in there, like fitness wise and lifestyle wise and personality wise, you know?
maybe. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, yeah, it's similar in the sense that soldiers work well under pressure. Actors can work well under pressure, but it's a different kind of fucking pressure, dodging bullets. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of a comparison, but it kind of there's similarities there. You get certain traits, I suppose, from acting that you would being a soldier in terms of discipline and mentality.
Tell us a bit about that. Like, what age like did you get into acting properly, and like what inspired you to get into acting?
Um, Straight up, my mate Louis, shout out to him. My best mate Louis got me
Oh,
into acting.
okay.
He's pretty much the reason. But when I
Yeah,
was
okay.
younger than that, though, in around the age of 5, I used to love the movie Die Hard, the third one, but was it the second one? No, the third one where they're in New York, Samuel L. Jackson. That was one of my favorites, but I loved them all. But I
Very
was a
good.
massive fan, and I still am of Die Hard, and I always remember my ma going, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And me going, "Action hero." And that was another one I loved, The Last Action Hero by Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was another movie, but that was kind of my dream. And then that fizzled out for a while. Like I started getting into martial arts and and music basically through that. Then I was kind of doing my own thing. And then my best mate Louis found out in Ballymun there wasn't an awful lot to do when we were growing up for the community, but they did like bring things in. The acting thing included, like the music, the samba, my samba school, shout out
Nice
to
to
them.
see
They
like the
trained me in
community
samba.
rallying around and getting together
Yeah,
doing
it
something.
was kind of the beginning of the regeneration in Ballymun, you know what I mean? So like they started up an acting group and Louis had found out about it and he was kind of nervous and he didn't want to go on his own and he twisted my arm into going with him. At the time, like I'll admit it, I was just real typical young lad, fucking knockout. That's stupid, you know what I mean? Shit like that. And he twisted my arm into going and then I ended up liking it and the two of us made careers from it. That was basically
It's
how I
really
got into acting.
interesting, isn't it? Like a lot of people say, especially if you interview them and chat with them, say like, how did it happen? Like, how did you get into it? And a majority of the time, they say like a friend convinced them, or they just fell into it, or something that happened, and then they become really good at it, and then they make a
Yeah,
good
it's
living.
like, I suppose, yeah, it's just saying people can find talents by accident. You know what I mean? I did. That's what happened to me. I found mine completely by accident.
And
I
you
just,
seem like you have the kind of personality as well that can adapt and work well under pressure. So I think like you're one of them is where you can kind of pick up at it and kind of give your best go at it and pick it up easily. Do you know what I
well,
mean?
that's
Like,
another thing my ma used to always say to me is, all you can ever do is your best.
yeah,
She's right, you know
that's
what I
it.
mean? She was dead right about that. Like, all you can ever do is your best. But at least once you, even if it's not good enough, once you know you did your best,
That's
that's what
always
counts.
good,
It
isn't
might
it?
not be
Yeah.
good enough for somebody else, but that doesn't mean it
Yeah.
would be good enough for somebody else, for somebody other than
Some
them.
people
You
can
know what
be
I mean?
very critical as well, you know, and they can be very hard on themselves and other people because of high aspirations and certain mind frames. And, you know, some people just
That's
can't
only
live
that,
with
but
other
that's
people.
yeah, but that's because those individuals are setting the bar in their own head so high. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's
You
true.
can only see, you don't even know what the bar is when you're setting it. Do you know what I mean? In terms of what you can do, unless you go and try and do it. So
So,
like
like,
you,
what kind of like movies like did you like watching in the 90s? Like, what was your
action movies.
like when you start getting into acting? You're like, oh well, I do now. I'm gonna have a little sus now and have a little look at these other lads and all. What was your favorite films to watch? Like, what pulled you
But
in? Because
growing
you
up,
act too. It's probably hard to get lost in a movie or a script because you know yourself what acting is essentially. So, like, what films could pull you in the 90s and you'd enjoy? Like,
most of them, I was an
yeah,
impressionable
it's
little
great.
kid, and the '90s was like the fucking the shit, you know, for movies. You know what I mean? Like that was the boom era. Well,
It
like
really
you
was,
know what I
wasn't it?
mean? Well, I don't
Yeah, it
know.
really
Like,
was.
I suppose people in the 80s and 70s and whatever would say the same. But, like, at the same time, for me, yeah, growing up, like, I started with Disney movies. You know what I mean? I used to watch all the Disney movies. The
And so
Lion
would you like
King, The
find
Jungle
out
Book
yourself,
was one of
like,
my favourites.
so you look back now, like, and you look at like sets and the way movies and things are now, it's kind of like sort of high tech and high budget, but at the same time, you kind of like lose the essence of the movie sometimes. Like Disney is kind of taking
Depends
over a
on,
lot of
well,
things,
that
and
depends on the story you're trying to tell. Do you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like, nowadays, it's the essence. I can get why you probably feel that because the essence is lost in remakes. They're
Yeah,
it's not
it
original.
can be. There's a new film out there now. Was it Cinderella? But Camila Cabello's in it, and they rewrote like basically the whole story and still called it Cinderella, and it's not doing very well with critics. And it's kind of like some things should just be
Because they're
left
remake.
alone. You know what I
Yeah, yeah.
mean?
Majority is gonna go. It's not as good as it was in my childhood. You know what I mean? Like everybody's gonna
And the
say that
Beauty
shit.
and the Beast remake was actually brilliant. So it's mad how it can kind of like fare out with the audience and stuff like that. But like as a kid, what kind of film like stuck out with you? Like I loved Home Alone. Like that made me just go, wow. So what kind of like
Home
movie
Alone.
made you?
Yeah, well, Home Alone was one of them. The second one I preferred. Well, actually, no, I like both of them.
Oh, the first was
I
great,
like
and the
the
second
second
was
one
like
had more of a sense of adventure for me as a kid because he was in New York and not just at home. You know what I mean?
he was off wandering around and all. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that's for loads of the Santa Claus. That was one of them. I loved the Santa Claus. That's my favorite Christmas
Oh,
movie.
stop. I was literally
That
watching
was a
them the
cracker.
other day.
Um,
It's brilliant.
There's loads of
Toy
films.
Story.
There's a few. The Never Ending Story traumatized the fuck out of me. That scared the shit out of me. I think it was the second one where all these mad jokes start coming up out of the floor, out of the ground and all, and I was like, ah! No. I still have that image in my head.
Yeah,
That scared.
yeah.
Well, it was a great film. Like the sense of wonder you got in that film was unbelievable.
It's lovely
That
the
was
way you
one.
say that, like, because I think like everybody has a film that like traumatized them as a kid. Like mine was Anaconda.
Yeah, I
That
watched
put me off.
fucking. I
Never
watched
watched.
2 weeks after that. That was horrible.
Sorry, it broke up there. I
I don't know if
apologize,
anybody's
guys.
seen
There's
that film or not.
like a bit laggy there, so I hope you're still connected to
Where's
us.
it going? How many people is watching? I think my one's going laggy because it says one person is
I
watching,
don't
but
know.
three
My
people
phone
commenting.
doesn't really tell me. It tells me when new people come in, but it doesn't tell me altogether how many in the corner. So
I don't
anyway,
know.
I want to know like what kind of made you want to like rap and sing online. Like, because I know
Confidence.
that you're like, you have a job and then you do something else on the side and things like that. So, like, what do you get out of like singing and rapping online? Because I find you're motivational and you inspire people. But yourself, what do you feel like you get out of it? Is it help
That,
to
just
unload?
exactly what you said. Just that. We get
Is that
happiness from knowing
okay?
that it inspires people.
And does
If
it
it
help you
does, if it
deal with
does.
your like if you're having a bad day, like will it help
Oh
uplift you
yeah,
if you
100%. Like there's a lot of
yeah,
like, I won't lie to you. Like I cried. I was crying when I wrote a few of my raps in the past.
stop.
You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not. Come here. That's not a
No, no,
sympathy
no,
thing.
I get it, like, 'cause it's raw, like, and it's real, and it's emotional, and it's. I appreciate you sharing, like,
But that's
your
madness.
whole process, and And by the way, if you're here and you can hear me
I'm at.
fully,
I'm
so we're
at.
gonna have like a little something later. So tune in and stay tuned in because you're gonna hear like a little snippet of the song,
I wrote a
and
brand
I
new song we did tonight. I only
yeah,
wrote
so
it
I
in
got
two.
the
Well,
pleasure here.
a hook and a verse I wrote tonight.
I got the pleasure of hearing a preview of it, guys, and I really liked it, and it stuck in my head. It's catchy, it's fun, it has a nice message. So hopefully, you stick around long enough, and you can stick around long enough. Make sure your phones are charged and your tea is hot, and that you are not leaving that comfortable chair. So, like, anyway, Wes, like, what is apart from acting, like, what else do you see yourself doing in like 5 years from now?
In 5 years from now, who only asked me this? That's weird. Somebody else asked me this. This. I was on TikTok live earlier and somebody asked me this. Was that you?
No, I wasn't. I was
Somebody asked
scoping
me that on
around.
TikTok live. But
I
either
made.
way, 5 years from now, I'll just give the same answer because it's the straight up answer is basically 5 years from now. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter where I am. Once I know my family is secure, 5 years from now, I don't
That's
care
a
where I
really
am.
nice tone.
That's being
That's a really
genuine. I don't give a
nice tone.
fuck where like. I could be in a gutter 5 years from now if I know my family's safe and secure and the people close to me.
And
I
what
know if
about
they're
no,
insecure in 5 years, I'll be
aspiration?
happy. It doesn't matter where I am, and I don't give a
Like
rat's if people contradict that. That's the truth.
aspirationally though, where would you like to be? Would you like to be
Myself,
in a
right? If I
different
was to be selfish
career?
about it, if I was to be selfish about it, then rich and famous, but for the same reason, basically
Right,
for the
okay,
reason
that's
like
interesting.
I want the fame to be able to influence positively, and I want the money to be able to help out the people that got me to that position in the fucking first place.
So
That's
did anybody like in general ever like did that never happen to you growing up where like you got into this mindset of fuck this, like, sorry for some guys, don't bleep that out, but where you
loads of
said
shit.
fuck this, like, I'm gonna do this, like, because I mean a lot of people do say they're gonna do it and they're gonna do it for other people as well because
Yeah, well,
like it's tricky.
that's human nature is procrastination. You know what I mean? We all do that. Even I do it today. Everybody does it. I'm still doing it. I'm not saying this like I'm a bleeding guru. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. I'm just learning. I'm only 30 years old, but I feel fortunate enough in my early 30s that I've learned this already because I know people that
Well,
are
I
40
think
that
like you're brave, and I really think that like you have a lot of courage to come online and share your
it's not like it
stories.
comes across as arrogance. I understand that.
No, like if
No,
it comes across as arrogance to anybody, they're just uncomfortable with themselves and can't deal with the kind of like character and personality you bring across. No one is ever like, I mean, there's a difference
it's
between arrogance and genuine emotion and things like that. And anything I've seen and anything I've watched and even speaking to you, like there's no arrogance there whatsoever. So if anybody ever thought that that's their bad perception, not nothing to do
well,
with you.
maybe there is a bit. You know what I mean? I'm only human, but I don't do it to put
I mean,
people
I
down.
mean, there's one thing being confident in yourself and knowing who you are and everything like that. That's fine, and that can come as across as arrogance sometimes, I suppose. Like, but otherwise, like, if
Well,
you're
it's
not doing
not.
no
It's
harm,
just it's a threat to somebody who's insecure because
that's
they
true.
take it makes people feel defensive about themselves, and that's
That's
understandable.
why I
That's
think
not.
that's
I'm
so
not
many
saying that out of judgment.
celebrities.
I'm just
That's why we've
learning.
so many celebrities as well, like, and like so many magazines telling people how to be and what to wear because they're so insecure and they're looking up to
Well,
people.
no, that's
Do you know what
society.
I mean?
When you're going at that level, that's straight up society that teaches you that. Western society, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, that's the society we live in, which could be worse in fairness. It's not the worst society. But
So
it
if
does,
you could be
it's
rich,
very shallow. Do you know what I mean? That's all. That's
so
the
like if
society. It's
you
very
like
shallow.
let's just say the devil rang you up or knocked on your door and says, right, you can be rich and famous. Like, what would you want to be rich and famous for? That's like the
What would
main
you what?
question there. What would you want to be rich and famous for?
Rich and famous for?
Yeah,
Not
like you
about what
said.
you want to be rich and famous for. It's why. Well, I suppose same thing, but like
No,
in the
no, no,
sense
because
that
everybody has
do you
a
want to be
trade.
remembered for good or bad? But it's not even
No,
about that. It's do you want to be
no, about
remembered?
your trade. Would you want to be remembered as an actor? Would you want to be remembered as a singer? Would you want to be remembered as a rapper or writer? Like
Just
what,
as a
like
good
as your
person.
trade?
As a good person. That's it. If I get rich and famous along the way, that's grand. But
Well, a
if I
lot of people
influence
like.
people, that's the reason why I'm doing it. It's not what I'm doing, it's why I'm doing it. Do you know what I
So,
mean?
like, have you come across like a minority in your lifetime that you've connected with and you'd like to help?
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, I fucking am one. Well, I was one. You know what I mean? Like, whichever. I relate to that in that sense. Don't get me wrong. I haven't had the worst life
So,
in the
like,
world.
if
You
you
know what I
like,
mean? I've
let's
had a
say
great
someone
life. I've
handed
had a great upbringing. I was taught respect. But at the
so
same
like,
time, I fell into my own mind through a lot of many different issues. But I
so,
just came out the other side.
so I'm
You know what I
assuming
mean?
like you battled with your mental health, and are you saying like you've had mental health battles and
Yeah,
struggles?
fucking right I have. I've had loads of them. Loads of them.
Okay.
I still
Would
have
you
them.
like to share some or one or
Well, like if it depends on, I could share a lot. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm an overthinker.
well the
I
one that impacted you the most and
I'm not that. I'm psychology 101. If you want to sum it up, I'm not really not that complicated. We all have issues, and issues can, in fact, be labelled, but not to a T. Never to
well
a
if you
T,
could
because
help
everybody's an
anybody like
individual. But you can put things under broad headings and then subheading them constantly. But
but if you could support any like
it's not that that
minority,
defines.
who would you
Sorry.
put the money back? Like if you could, like let's say you made it rich and famous tomorrow, and you could put money back into like a community or an
Yeah.
environment to help them. Like who would you choose and why?
Everybody I could, everybody within that financial bracket.
See,
Right?
so
So it
so
depends on how much money I earn. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
but at the
so when
same
you get
time, yeah,
richer,
at least if you want to talk maths, which I'm not good at, but like either way,
no,
more
not
than half of
that.
that is
Like
getting
so,
divided out.
basically, the way when people get to a certain bracket in financial places, they sponsor a charity or they can give a certain amount to charity every year.
I'd rather just
Like
divide it out and hand it out in cash. At least I know where it's going. You know what I mean? But like, not that's not knocking anybody that donates on to charity or anything like that. But like,
well,
I'm actually happy with that, just floating around saying, "Yeah, bro, there you are." You know what I mean? Like, and having the crack. At least you get to
that's
enjoy
true.
doing it then. And it's not like just
Like
formal. Do you know what
you
I
have
mean?
to just kind of have a little bit of faith as well that people are doing the right thing with the money that they get for the people that
Well,
they're
yeah,
getting.
of course. Like, with charity, fucking should be doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
But a lot
Unfortunately,
of
some of them
people say
haven't.
to me, Rebecca,
No,
like
very all of them
charity
do.
starts at home. You know what I mean? Like always remember that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like, don't get me wrong. Understanding that people work in charities and people have to get paid and all, but like, why? I just cut out the middleman. If I had enough money, like, if I won millions, what's the point in giving it to a charity? Just fucking fly to Africa or fly
So like
somewhere, fly wherever and just hand it out. You have the money to do it. So you know what I mean? Have the
how,
crack when they're doing it. That'd be
how would
illegal.
you
That'd be
deal with a
deadly.
bad
Get a
day? Like
holiday out of it now. What the?
if you were having a really bad day, like how would you deal with it?
Depends on the severity of the day. But different way.
What
It
would
depends on
your
the
like go
situation.
to be? What
Like,
would your go to be? Like you know what I mean? If you're
the
having a
number one
really
thing I always try to do, at least, is focus on the reality of the situation. Like the real reality of a situation. Like, because I overthink like a bastard. Excuse me language, by the way. With no filter. And
that
I'm
can
sorry.
be a part of anxiety as well. Like a lot of people can overthink
No,
and think.
that look, that's another thing. Anxiety, fair enough. People suffer with anxiety, but now this is just before anyone gets fucking triggered. This is just my opinion, right? Anxiety is
Trigger
not,
warning, guys. Trigger warning.
yeah, but anxiety is, in my opinion, it's something that you feel. Yeah, it's an emotion, but it's not a condition. I don't think it is. Depression is the condition, and that's what leads to the anxiety. But I don't believe that it's just anxiety that you can suffer. Anxiety it's deeper than just anxiety. I believe a lot of people just throw that around. You know what I mean as well. Like, and a lot of words nowadays people throw around, but
So what's your
it's the
opinion
depth
on
meaning that
medication?
nobody really not nobody, but like a lot of people don't seem to understand what it fully means. That's just my
So,
opinion, though.
so like, what would your opinion on like anti-anxiety medication be then? Like, would you be for it or
Well,
against?
yeah, of course, I'm for any kind of meditation. But to each their own. Everybody is different. You can't like it's there is general guidelines you can give, and some people will like the same things, and other people won't. You know what I mean? So like everybody has their own
Have
form
you
of
ever been
meditation.
on any medication yourself or anything?
What?
Have you ever been on any medication or anything like that for anxiety yourself or anything?
No, never.
Okay, so like,
Although
would you?
I have thought about it before, but no, never.
So like, if you're really stressed out, what would you do? Would you take a shower, go for a jog, have a cup of
Stop and
tea?
think.
What would
Just stop
you
and
just
think.
create?
Like if it's really bad, yeah, don't get me wrong. Just try and do it. Like I do a bit of training maybe, or I'd be creative.
Do you like
That's the biggest stress. My biggest stress reliever is being creative in any way, shape, or form. Like be
do
it
you like
going,
the gym then? Yeah, you like going to the
yeah, like
gym.
but like being creative in the sense that I won't just go to the. I don't like the gym. I'm not really a gym goer. I prefer martial arts and boxing and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you
Like the
said
ego, there's
earlier
no
that you
ego
done
in the
martial.
dojo. There's only egos. The gym is full of ego. I don't like that.
You said earlier you done martial arts, and I didn't get a chance to ask you because we were chatting about something else. But what was it you done exactly, like martial arts wise? Because I know
Like
there's different
style
kinds.
wise, I did. I started
Yeah,
the first ever martial art I did was taekwondo. Then I went into Wing Chun, which is a form of kung fu. Then I did a bit of kickboxing, and then I found one of my favorites, Shotokan karate. Me and my best friend Alan stuck with that for years,
that's
and
lovely.
huh?
That's lovely. Like, it takes a
Yeah,
lot of control.
that and a few others like boxing. Then I went into boxing and Muay Thai and MMA after that. So
And
I
what
like
did
to
you
try
find
everything.
was what did you find you liked the most out of them all then?
The creativity.
No,
Well,
out of all the
it
different
depends.
sports.
Like it depends on because every martial arts is restricted to a specific style, but MMA isn't. So I loved MMA for that
Which
because
style did you prefer yourself? Like, what would you
mixed
like
martial
to say?
arts because it doesn't have a style. Like Bruce Lee is my number one idol, and his main belief in combat sports is that you should eliminate style and adapt to everything. Which that philosophy can be applied to everyday life. To be like water philosophy. Well, I mean, basically to adapt to everything. Like martial arts is a form of self-expression through human movement. You know what I
So
mean?
right, how has like I just want to change subject for a quick here, but how has hip hop culture influenced you as a person?
Hip hop through relativity because I can relate to it because I understand the lyrics and what like now I'm not talking about the commercial hip hop. I'm talking about real hip hop when I talk about lyrics, like as in like stuff that really hits it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
Tupac or
what
Biggie?
influenced me was the power that hip hop has, music in general, not just hip hop, just music. The power
Right,
that
so two.
a song can, one simple song can influence an entire fucking nation.
That's
You know what I
true.
mean?
It's true. Yeah. So like, I have like $1 million question, like Tupac or Biggie.
It's a hard one, but if I was to go overall, I'd go Biggie.
Oh,
For the
okay.
fact
Yeah,
that
I like
Tupac was the revolutionary, and that's you can never take that away from
two
him. Tupac
different
is the
things, I
revolutionary,
suppose.
but lyrically, I think Biggie was more articulate. You know what I mean? He was a better wordsmith than Tupac, but Tupac had the bigger influence. You know what I mean? Because he was the revolutionary. Biggie followed, but I think Biggie beat him lyrically, and as well as that, Biggie's like real life experiences were more real than Tupac. Tupac wasn't as big of a hustler as apparently he says he was. So it's told. And Biggie was, you know what I mean? Biggie
It's
walked the
kind of
walk
like
more than Tupac, I think. But I'm not saying that Tupac was a kickballer or anything like, but he was a bit of one compared to Biggie.
sometimes I feel like it is bad and unfair to compare the two of them because they were different. They stood for different things and all. It's kind of
No, they
sad the
didn't
way they
actually.
were pinned
They
together.
actually stood for the same thing, but they were divided by the media.
Well, I mean, like Tupac was in the gang, and then like
Was he though?
Well, his mother was, I think,
Yeah, his
apparently.
ma
I'm not
was,
going to get into all
but he
that just
wasn't.
in
You know what I mean?
case. Because,
His
the
ma, like,
media lines and all that.
that's what I
So,
mean. Oh, like, I don't do that with in hip a lot. Music, the industry is about me.
do you
Whereas
feel like,
I feel like that can be broken. You can still portray an image on a
so do
camera,
you think, like,
provided you're
hip hop's
promoting the right thing.
changed?
What?
Do you think hip hop's changed a lot from then to now, and like how the buzz is and the vibe is? Like,
Hip hop.
do you like? Oh, my phone.